the inspiration, of course, is a radio play and a novel, and the author actually is still living, and she's been at she's a Polish writer in her 90s, and she's been at a number of the performances. So maybe we can say a little bit about the background of the story and what Weinberg and his about-to-be-named librettist did with it. And my apologies on that.
Sure. Sofia Pozmich is a Polish writer in her 90s, as Andrew says. And she was in Auschwitz as a prisoner, as a liberal. She is Catholic and a Polish nationalist. And she, it is said, was inspired to write her play, The Passenger in Cabin 45, which was initially a radio play and a novel, when she happened to be visiting Paris years later, I think in the early 60s or late 50s, and happened to hear a group of German tourists somewhere in Paris with a woman shouting in German some instructions to her fellow tourists. And instantly, this experience plunged Sofia Pozmich back into Auschwitz, where she reimagined the commands of the SS overseer, who became the character Lisa. And she intentionally told her own Auschwitz story through the eyes and ears of the SS overseer Lisa. It was Shostakovich who first came across the novel by Pozmich, which soon after it was published was translated into Russian, and it was Shostakovich who gave it to Weinberg. The Russian writer Alexander Medvedev is in fact the librettist. He is someone with whom Weinberg had worked. He read the novel, immediately saw its possibilities as an opera, changed it, added a number of characters, very importantly added the epilogue, and we should talk a little bit about the epilogue a little later, because what emerged from this novel was an opera that I believe is fundamentally about the survival of humanity against impossible odds. Of course, an opera on this subject has some disturbing, violent scenes, but my experience in having now been to a number of performances of The Passenger is that I always come away from it remembering the much softer, much more lyrical, much more reflective sections of the score. And the epilogue is indeed something that transports us out of the realism of either the ocean liner or the women's camp in Auschwitz. All of a sudden, we are on the bank of a great river. Marta, now dressed in modern contemporary clothes, is singing a lament to the friends and comrades that she lost in Auschwitz, promising never to forget them.